Everyone trusted her: parents, teachers, police. She was the one who helped search for the missing child. She was the one who cried on camera, begging for her safe return. But the killer never actually left the room. This is the chilling story of how a beloved stepmother orchestrated a perfect deception, fooling an entire town while hiding a monstrous secret. On a quiet Sunday evening, 9-year-old Emily Harper vanished from her suburban neighborhood. It happened in that peaceful window of time just before dinner, when kids are usually called back inside. But Emily never came home. There were no screams, no witnesses, no signs of a struggle. The only clue left behind was her small pink bicycle, lying on its side near the local playground. It was as if she had been erased from existence. Within hours, the town transformed. What was once a tranquil community became a frantic hub of activity. Search parties were organized with hundreds of volunteers combing through parks, woods, and backyards. News helicopters chopped the air overhead, their spotlights sweeping across the darkened landscape. Candlelight vigils were held, casting a somber, flickering glow on the faces of worried neighbors and friends. And right at the center of this storm of grief and fear was Linda Harper, Emily's stepmother. Linda was more than just a stepmother. She was a beloved figure in the community. As a school librarian, she knew almost every child by name. She was seen as kind, gentle, and utterly devoted to Emily. In the days following the disappearance, she became the public face of the family's anguish. She gave emotional, tear-filled interviews to television crews, her voice trembling as she described the little girl she loved so much. "Please, just bring her home," she pleaded, clutching a framed photo of Emily. "We just want our baby back." She was the one organizing the volunteer searches, handing out flyers and directing teams with a steady, if grief-stricken, resolve. She held Emily's distraught father, offering comfort and support when it seemed like the world was falling apart. The community rallied around her, inspired by her strength and heartbroken by her pain. But 3 days into the search, the hope that had sustained the town was brutally extinguished. Emily's body was discovered. She wasn't found in the woods or a nearby field. She was found inside a locked, climate-controlled storage unit on the outskirts of town, a unit that had been rented under a false name. The cause of death was determined to be poisoning. The news sent a shockwave of devastation through the community. The police, who had been pursuing leads involving strangers and abductors, were stunned. The investigation, which had been focused outward, suddenly took a dark, unthinkable turn inward. At first, detectives continued to look at external suspects. They reviewed lists of registered offenders in the area, interviewed delivery drivers who had been on routes near Emily's home, and questioned neighbors about any unfamiliar vehicles or people they might have seen. Throughout this initial phase, Linda Harper was the model of cooperation. She was the perfect grieving witness. She handed over her phone records without hesitation, gave police a detailed timeline of her day, and even offered her own theories, suggesting possible suspects they should investigate. She seemed to be doing everything in her power to help find the person who had taken Emily, but one small, nagging detail kept bothering the lead investigators: the poison. It wasn't something you could buy at a hardware store. It was a rare, specialized compound, typically found in industrial-grade laboratory cleaning agents. This wasn't a random crime, it was specific. The detectives began meticulously tracing who in the small town might have access to such a substance. And that's when the first red flag appeared. Linda, in addition to her job as the school librarian, worked part-time at a private tutoring center. That center just so happened to share a building and sometimes supplies with a neighboring science lab. Suddenly, she had access. This discovery shifted the entire focus of the investigation. Detectives started looking at Linda not as a grieving victim, but as a person of interest. They dug deeper, pulling security footage from businesses all over town. And then they found it. Footage from a camera positioned across the street from the storage facility showed a car matching Linda as pulling up to the unit 2 days before Emily even went missing. A woman got out, entered the unit, and left a few minutes later. It was Linda. When confronted with the video, Linda had a ready explanation. She claimed she was just donating old books and clearing out clutter. It was a plausible story, and for a moment, it seemed to check out. But when investigators executed a search warrant on that storage unit, they didn't find boxes of old books. Instead, they found a small pair of children's gloves, a package of industrial cleaning wipes, and, under forensic analysis, microscopic traces of the exact same poison that had killed Emily. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place when the full forensic report on her phone and computer data came back. It sealed her fate. Weeks before Emily's disappearance, Linda had been making a series of chilling online searches. How long does poison stay undetectable in a human body? Can poisoning symptoms look like a sudden illness? Best ways to stage a disappearance. The woman everyone trusted, the woman who had cried on national television, had been quietly and methodically planning her stepdaughter's murder for weeks. In the interrogation room, faced with the overwhelming evidence, Linda's carefully constructed facade finally crumbled. But she didn't break down in a fit of rage or guilt. Instead, she confessed calmly, almost clinically. She admitted everything. In her mind, Emily was an obstacle. She was a constant living reminder of her husband's previous marriage. She felt she was in a silent competition with a 9-year-old child for her husband's love and attention. Competition she was determined to win. Her plan was as cold as it was cruel. She poisoned Emily at home, likely in a drink or a snack. Once Emily was gone, she moved her body to the pre-rented storage unit under the cover of darkness. Then, she raised the alarm, reported her missing, and stepped into the role of the grieving, desperate caregiver. The entire town watched in absolute disbelief as Linda Harper was led away in handcuffs. The same woman who had organized search parties, the same woman they had cried with and prayed for, was the monster they had been searching for all along. At trial, the prosecution laid out the case, describing her crime as cold, calculated, and theatrical. They showed the jury the video of her tearful interviews, juxtaposed with her chilling internet search history. Her defense had little to offer against the mountain of evidence. She was quickly convicted of first-degree murder. The judge handed down the maximum sentence, life in prison with no possibility of parole. Today, Linda Harper spends her days in a maximum security facility, a world away from the quiet library where she once worked. She is no longer surrounded by adoring children and trusting parents, but by concrete walls and people who know exactly what she did. And back in that quiet suburban town, the community still struggles to heal. They still remember the frantic search for a missing child and the horrifying realization that the woman leading the search already knew she was gone. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as compelling as we did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more true crime content. We'll see you in the next video.